Good day, sunshine. It's a beautiful day here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm Sid the Great, the People's Hype Man. Thank you for joining me here today. Well, some of you saw the video yesterday that broached the subject of what's been going on surrounding the death of George Floyd, specifically the protest. And while I did touch on it on a broad scale, I definitely want to continue the engagement of the conversation and to further the process to process what's been going on and engage in a conversation that hopefully will bring change, if not to some of the people who follow me, or to at least cope with what's going on. And today was a very interesting day. I had the pleasure of talking with a local police officer for an extensive amount of time. We got to talk about what's been going on in the world, about COVID-19, about the protests that have been happening. But that started off briefly until we got into a conversation about an experience that he had fairly recently. And for the moment, my intent on having this conversation with him about the protest and George Floyd and the police institution, he told me about something that he witnessed and something that he couldn't shake. A few days ago, there was a murder-suicide. A father allegedly killed his two kids and killed himself. And he was one of the officers on the scene. And when he told me that, I had to stop the conversation, at least not stop the conversation, but I put a pause on the direction of the conversation. Because at that particular time, I needed to be a humanitarian. I needed to listen to him. Because I think in that moment, he just needed to talk. And so he proceeded to tell me no details about the particular case or anything, but just of how messed up things are. And it is something that this particular community has not seen or experienced, or at least in a very, very long time. And as a father, it hit me personally very deep. And so we talked about that for a minute. And then he opened up the conversation back to what's going on and how messed up it is. And it was as if he watched my last vlog in saying, we've got some bad apples and we need to clean up our house. I was taken back for a second. I don't know if he saw me chuckle, but it was an enlightening thing to hear from somebody in law enforcement the day after that I said it. I don't know this officer. I don't know him. I don't know if I'll ever see him again. But it took me back for a minute. And it opened up a dialogue between he and I because of his acknowledgement. And so we got to talk about how officers or law enforcement in general really need to have accountability for their members. They need to take accountability. And how if there are bad apples in that bunch, don't allow it to ruin the whole bunch. You guys have the power to call out your fellow employees, your fellow law enforcement colleagues. You have that power, and it's your responsibility to utilize that power. It's your responsibility to us to make sure that your house is in order. I don't know that man from Adam, but I greatly appreciated the conversation. And it made me believe that he is one of the good ones. One of the ones that would fight the injustice, because I talked to him about the blue code of silence that is prevalent in the police force and stops some of these police officers from speaking up to the injustices that they see and calling out their fellow lawmen. You're doing us an injustice when you do that. It's not fair. It's not right. When you see one of your people going over the line and being abusive and utilizing the power that they have to suppress and oppress and brutalize people, and in this particular time and issue, Black people, it is your duty as a civil officer to protect us from them. It doesn't matter if they're your colleagues. It's your duty to protect us from them. Otherwise, what are you doing there? You're not serving the purpose of the shield. You're not serving the purpose and the oath that you take as a law enforcement officer to serve and protect. Think about it. And that's where I'll leave you. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Fight injustice. That's my heart beating for you. Good day, sunshines.